Good evening. Welcome to the very first concert for the Little Miami Intermediate School 2016-17 sixth grade band. My name is Andrew Morlock, and behind me is 130 students that have been practicing hard, that just got their instruments 4 months ago. And it's amazing, I just told them in the gym right before we came out, how only 4 months ago they opened up their case and they had no idea what they were looking at. Some of them didn't know how to put it together, and maybe some of them dropped it. Didn't know, and it's amazing how, as a teacher, to see them improve so much, so quickly, and to see all the challenges that we face and how we face them together. And so tonight we're going to show you that journey, how we got from day one to whatever day today is, the concert day. And so I hope you enjoy this. I'm sure you've heard them practicing at home, I hope. Also, I'm sorry. But you'll hear how it all pays off in the end. So first thing I'm going to show you is that when we walked in for the very first day, and we made our first sounds as a band together, and I got to stand right here with 130 people aiming instruments at me, knowing what was going to happen. The only thing that was missing was a blindfold. And so I'm going to give you a little taste of that, and we're going to play Merrily We Roll Along as if it was the very first time. Hope you enjoy. Believe it or not, that's their favorite song of the whole concert. And so after a while of practice, and suddenly, you probably notice this at home, especially if your student is practicing, is that slowly but surely, the noise starts to sound like music. And the same thing happens in here, and it's quite magical. And so I hope you enjoy this second playing of Merrily We Roll Along. Hopefully it sounds different than the first time. And while we were at it, I felt like we would add in Hot Cross Buns, because most of us, whenever we learn a new instrument, Hot Cross Buns is the song that comes to mind. And believe it or not, it's a difficult song to start out with because there's rests. And rests are almost the hardest part, especially when learning to read music. And just imagine what it's like to learn how to play an instrument while at the same time read something in a different language. And that's something that we've had to struggle with. And half rests are what were added in this piece. We have to count 3, 4 to ourselves, and so hopefully no one will play in the rest or something terrible. Hope you enjoy Hot Cross Buns. like to take this time to introduce you to the sections of the band because you might be very familiar with your own student's instrument, maybe too familiar, but I like to introduce you to the other ones. So first off, I'd like to have the percussion. Could we just like raise our hand? They're way in the back, and so some of you, yeah, round of applause for the percussion. Especially the people playing, the students playing the snare drums and the bass drum and the other instruments that aren't bells. Can we get a round of applause for them as well? Just bells. We just started transitioning on a snare drum and bass drum, so they're very brave here to be playing this only after about a couple weeks of practice on these instruments. We have 20 percussionists, so that's an amazing amount to fit back there in that corner, and they're doing such a good job that I can almost see Aidan sometimes. The next section I'd like to stand up is the biggest one in the band, and it's the trumpet section. Trumpets, can you stand up, please? There's 35 of them. I brought this on myself as I am a trumpet player, and I encouraged them, and then I was like, that is a lot of trumpets. So you will definitely hear trumpet today. Flutes, can you stand up, please? Flutes have the hardest time to start out with. It's very difficult to create a sound on a flute at the outset. I know because I am terrible at the flute. And I tried very hard to play, and so I respect them very much, and they usually end up being the hardest working section of the band. So one more round of applause for them. Clarinets, could you stand up, please? Clarinets. Clarinets use a reed to play, and so I'm sure you've had lots of experiences with cracked reeds and buying reeds from me. And so they'll get better and better at taking care of my promise so they won't eat you out of house and home with reeds. One more round of applause for clarinets. Next to the saxophone. Saxophones, please stand up. The section that I love telling to be quiet. The saxophones are an incredibly loud instrument on the outset. I'm sure you know one of those is your students. So thank you. One more round of applause for the saxophones. And last but not least, before we move on, I want to introduce the trombone. Trombone, stand up. This is your trombone. This is the biggest section of trombones that I've had since I started here, and they are amazing. So I really want to give a round of applause for the trombones. All in all, that is 130 students. It is the biggest band I've ever had here, and it is one of the best. And so I really appreciate the hard work they put in this year, and I think you'll understand while we play the rest of our numbers. Our next section, our next piece is called Listen to Our Sections, and so I introduced them to you, so now you can hear them, and you'll be able to define which one sounds the best, right guys? Here we go. Listen to our sections. Gaining musical independence is important, which is why we play different things separately, but then we move into playing different things at the same time. So instead of all playing something together, which is unison, we separate into harmony. And so you're going to hear a duet here, where the brass, which would be the trumpets, the trombones, and percussion as well, brass and percussion, and the woodwinds are playing different parts, and you'll hear this harmony that's created. So I hope you enjoy London Bridge. when we first start playing a musical instrument, we have one volume, and that is incredibly loud. And I'm sure that you've heard this. It's very difficult to play soft, and as you get more and more adept at an instrument, you can get quieter, and everyone around you loves that. And so this piece of music is a classic, and it's actually my son. It's his favorite song, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And I told them that if they could play it quiet enough, that I would bring him on stage so that they could play it to him. And I'm going to look back. She's going to bring him up here. And so I'm going to bring, this is my son Maxwell coming to the stage right now. Guest appearance. Give a round of applause for him. All right, thank you for that small amount of self-indulgence. Give Max a round. There's a lot of techniques that we use to count in band and music in general. We do a lot of foot tapping, we do a lot of counting in our head, and we do a lot of counting out loud. And this next song, Do All the Day, I wanted to show you because it's a little taste of what a teaching practice that I do, where whenever they rest, if they continually play on the rest, I make them yell the counts out loud instead of playing their instrument, because if they're obviously yelling, they're not playing their instrument. And so I just thought you'd like a little taste of one of the pieces that we practice this on. It's called Doodle All Day. Hope you enjoy. Now the holiday portion of our concert. We're going to do two pieces. Jingle Bells is one that's regarded as one of the fairly easier pieces to play, but Up on the Housetop is a little bit more difficult. So we're going to play these back to back for you so you can hear Jingle Bells as well as Up on the Housetop. Up on the Housetop requires them to read music that has multiple endings, which to those of you that read music, you understand. Those of you that don't, just means two separate endings where you do one the first time, then you do the next one the second time, and continue on. And it's a difficult thing to do, to read a road map. It's like reading a map in a different language. And so we'll do Jingle Bells and then Up on the Housetop back to back. I hope you enjoy our little bit of holiday cheer. This next piece of music is not on the program. Calling an audible. But I did want to show you this because it is the piece in the book that we have practiced the most. They've done it the most times, we repeated it the most times. I feel like it's only fair to them to play it in front of you. The name of the piece is 8-Note Jam, and there are parts in the piece where they rest for one beat. And if anyone played in that one beat, I would make them repeat it. To the point where nobody made a mistake. It took a while. They might still make a mistake here because it's live and anything can happen. Or we might play it perfect. We'll see what happens. Hope you enjoy. We'll call that almost. The next piece that we're going to do is William Tell Overture, very famous. And this taught them how to do a pickup, meaning that instead of starting on beat 1, a 1, 2, 3, 4, go, they're going to start on beat 4 instead, 4 and 1. And as we know, William Tell, ba-da-da, 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 ba-ba, starts on beat 4. It's a difficult thing to learn, and this is how we taught pickups. Hope you enjoy William Tell Overture. Our next piece is going to be the first time you hear them play in 3-part harmony, and we do that by using a technique called a canon, where one group starts, the next group comes in later, but does the same thing, but starts at a different time. This is a very famous canon, I'm sure you're all aware of it, but this is the first time that we're going to do it all together. Group 1 is going to be trombones and saxophones, Group 2 is going to be trumpets and percussion, and Group 3 is going to be clarinets and flutes. So see if you can follow your student as they make their way through the round. Hope you enjoy Forever Jacques. As we're getting further and further to the concert, I hope you're realizing that pieces are getting more and more difficult, and this has been their journey from that very first day playing Merrily We Roll Along to here. So this one is kind of a hard version of Listen to Our Sections, only it's done using the old classic Old MacDonald Had a Farm, or in this case, a band. So I hope you enjoy Old MacDonald Had a Band. before we move on to our last few pieces, which are getting longer, I just wanted to say something. In the fall, we did a fundraiser, which I'm sure that you're all aware of, which was the Butter Braids fundraiser. But what you didn't know is that our band, in combination with the junior high band in the high school and the choir at the junior high, was the biggest selling group in the history of the Butter Braids company. We sold the most of any other group ever in their history. And it is in the large part thanks to you and thanks to the people behind you. If you sold any Butter Braids at all, can you please stand up? As a district, we sold $36,000 of Butter Braids. That's a lot of frozen pastry. And raised about $12,000 for the music program here. So thank you so much. I do want to point out two specific people in the group, if they could stand, which is Jack Cooper and Jade Marshall. Both of those people could stand up. Jack Cooper, Jade Marshall, could stand up. These two sold 50 and 52 respectively. And just a quick story about, and I talked to Jack's mom, and Jack, can you stand up again? Jack, can you stand up? I just want to give a special shout out to Jack because how he sold the Butter Braids is by going door to door and physically selling each one of those Butter Braids to individual. And I just think that's an amazing feat of young entrepreneurship. So just one more. So I'm sure the question that I get asked all the time after now is when are the gummy bears going to come? So don't worry, the gummy bears I'm delivering after Christmas. You're welcome. So the next piece we're going to play is Ode to Joy. I hope you enjoy it. It's our very first actual band sounding piece. Here it is. Before we play our final piece, the first piece, as it were, I just want to give a couple quick thank yous to shout out. First, I want to thank the staff and faculty, especially the 6th grade teachers, for letting me have this group of students at the end of the day and pulling them out of extra time, extra help, and getting time to work and do music. Thank you so much. Thank you to Superintendent Greg Fowler and the board, the Little Miami PTO, who actually, the book fair is right over here, and after the concert it is going to be open, and so if you have yet to go into the book fair, I'd highly suggest it. It's more than just a giant, amazing looking gingerbread house. I'd also like to thank the band boosters that helped with the Butter Braid fundraiser. Greg Robinson, Robert Ryan, Kelly McKinley, everybody that contributed musically. Where is Greg Robinson? He's back here. Greg Robinson's like my sneaky assistant director right here. Maybe give a round of applause for him. He does a tremendous job. He's like the phantom though, he likes to be behind the scenes. And then especially you guys, thank you so much. I know that having suddenly a very loud instrument in your students' hands playing all the time when we're trying to do other stuff is hard. I'm talking to you, Aaron.
talking about you.
And I know that some of you don't do music at all, and this is a brand new thing for you. So I thank you for all of the encouragement that you give them on a daily basis, even if it's just sitting down and listening to them play, and telling them that they sounded better than yesterday. Sometimes they need to hear that. I always tell them that they don't need to be better than anybody except for who they were yesterday. And so if you just keep them pushing and keep them practicing, it will pay off. And I thank you for everything you do. So round of applause. And then lastly, and I'll stop talking, I promise. Just a round of applause to these students that are up here.
Even though you're talking right now.
For all the hard work that they've put in these last couple months, because it's truly amazing and inspiring for me to see them work so hard and to have this moment when it finally pays off. So one round of applause for that. Our last piece this evening, and thank you so much for the many, many round of applause I've made you give to us. This is the first band piece. Defender of Time is the very first actual band piece, not in the book. This is written for band, where everybody's playing independent parts, and you have only heard their part. And so now you get to hear what it sounds like put inside with the rest of the instruments. And I hope you find that very interesting and amazing. I do. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you for supporting music, supporting band, and your students' journey. Here is Defender of Time. Thank you again so much. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you here at the Fine Arts Festival in April. Thank you.